Today I'm going to start to work on the electronics on this old Gretsch guitar, and it has some modifications to the guitar, but before I can find out what exactly is going on electrically with this guitar, I need to take care of each of the control pots and clean these guys up because it is terribly scratchy, noisy, and some of them may not even work as far as I can tell. And so I need to pull the controls out through the pickup holes in order to get some cleaner in there and get these controls working again. So anyway, that's on the order for today. That is the next step. I've already loosened up or removed the screws from the pickups so that I could get inside there. And as you can see, a lot of work ahead. Anyway, let's get to it. Now here's an old Dan Erlewine trick. Use some tubing to go onto the control pots so that when I let them free and drop them down inside, I can pull them back up into their respective holes without losing the pots down inside the guitar. And this is just Tygon tubing you can get at your hardware store. Our local hardware store carries it for just a couple of bucks for about 20 feet or something. That's a pretty good long length, so there's plenty to work with here. And as you can see, you can just bring the hardware up and over. Use a little padding here to keep from scratching the surface of the guitar while I'm working on it. I'm going to spray a little deoxit in here, get this guy cleaned up, and write down the circuit as best I can figure while I'm pulling it apart. I need to be very careful that I don't break any of the wiring, since nobody really knows how this guy is connected up right now. And it looks like there's some small wiring down in there. See a little red wire and a black wire down inside. Not sure where that's going. We'll find out in a minute. So here's the second pot. That's what we're looking at here. Very interesting. Okay, so here's the circuitry. So that goes to the base, and they both seem to be going to this pot. So I'll have to pull him and see what that's up to also. Could use some little bit of Keg deoxit here. Clean this guy up. We put a little padding underneath these guys and get to it. Now I've got all the controls out, and there are some problems here. Anyway, let me get into this thing. I would never put a guitar together like this, wiring like this. Close look at the wiring here. Look how tight that is. There is no slack in that wire, no slack in this wire. This is wired up so tightly, it can't move. And it's done like that everywhere. There's a loose wire here, but I know what that is. That's just another ground. Now, look at the way this thing is wired up here. We've got a ground here. We've got shield braid grounds. We have ground on the pickup. Okay. These two grounds, the shields are tied together, so the backs of these pots are ground, which is fine. Now you've got this one red wire that comes off and attaches a shield down to this other control, which is like a master volume. Why do you need this other ground wire here? This doesn't make any sense. So that's completely unnecessary. If I attach this here, it's just a parallel to this ground wire, which is just these shield grounds brought in from the pickup. They're coming around and they're getting to ground here. And since the shields going back to the circuit are tied together, you've got the shield connected here going back down into the circuit, and this shield here going back down into the circuit. So that's how all the grounds are attached. So I don't even need this wire. I'm going to cut this guy off and test the circuit. Here's the circuitry, the active circuit. As you can see, there's a lot of shielding wrapped around, shielding foil. So I can't actually see what the circuit is in here, but this is the line coming from the lower side of the upper bout of the guitar, the dual pot coming from here. You can hear my dog growling back there. So this line comes off the pot and comes down and connects into the circuitry down here. Now give me a minute. Here's a pot I just rewired because this guy was giving a lot of trouble. Some apparent shorts and things coming apart. Anyway, you can see this is how I wire up pots. See, there's a shrink tube down here. That's what the white stuff is, so that you can't get shorts to ground. Over here, this is the shield wire, using plenty of length of the wire here compared to the previous wiring job. Oh my gosh, look at this thing. This is awful. I'm about to replace that because you see this wire is going to go over here, but this is the other end of wire that used to go to this pot. All right, it's been a few days since I've worked on this guitar. I had to order some parts. I also had to get some RTV, that's room temperature vulcanizing silicone, to seal up the board again. I'll show you that real quick. You can see the back of this board was covered with RTV, translucent. You can see through a little bit, but I had to dig through a bunch of this to get to the circuitry underneath to look for some broken wires and problems. And so now I'm going to test this thing out, make sure everything is working correctly, and then put everything back into the guitar. As you can see, I have one of the rubber pipes sticking out so that I can get everything back together. It has two connections on this guitar. I've got a stereo connection here and a mono connection here. The stereo enables you to run the separate bass and treble sides of the pickups out. It doesn't break out the pickups as in bridge and neck position, but it breaks it out as into the bass side of the pickups and the treble side of the pickups. You can also change the mix between the neck and bridge position, and but that doesn't affect the stereo, of course. And then the mono is just straight. Okay, battery is in, ready for launch. Now I have the treble side of the pickups connected. So here's the back one. So there's the back one, the bridge, neck. All right, volume's working. Switched over. So they're opposite. Here's the treble side of the neck pickup, bass side of the bridge pickup. Now this will switch all the way down to the bridge, just like I thought, still bass. Turn around. So there's the neck and no bridge. So that's what we want. So that's completely the neck. Completely bridge. and nice quiet controls. Now to get the connections all back in. All right, this old boy is back in business and going to be very happy to get it back to the customer, good friend of mine. Wow. I don't play 7 strings, so I'll be excited to get this back to its owner and have him demonstrate for me a few of the great things that this guitar can do. But see, switch, everything's working just fine. That Bartolini active system is really singing. Anyway, until next time, this is Fastway Guitars, and I'm Tom Wimsatt, and click like and subscribe in the just below, so you'll be notified of when I get another video together. I have another project guitar here I want to put together, and that'll be a lot of fun. Do a lot of electronics on that one. Anyway, see you until next time.